At naiintindihan po natin ang concerns ng MTRCB, ngunit gusto rin po natin i-share yung mga existing po na mechanisms para po mapatanggal po yung mga content na may problema po.
Ma'am, baka meron po kayong gustong ipa-ano sa YouTube.
Thank you so much for sa mga katagang sinabi sa atin ng ating kaibigan mula sa YouTube. Kami pa ay nagpapasalamat dahil kung makikita nyo lang po ang complaints na natatanggap ng MTRCB on a daily basis, bahang-baha na po kami ng complaints, lalo na po sa mga nilalaman ng YouTube.
What's up mga tol? Senador Idol Robin Padilla, posibleng ibaband ang mga content creator ng mga social media platform, lalong-lalo na nga ang TikTok, Facebook at YouTube, na may mga malalaswang content at hindi kaaya-aya panuorin, lalong-lalo na sa mga kabataan. Na ilan nga ito sa mga social media platform na madalas ginagamit dito sa ating bansa.
Si Attorney Yves Gonzalez ng Google Philippines, sir.
Opo, sa tingin ko po ay isa lang po yung ating layunin na talagang maprotektahan po, lalong-lalo na po ang kabataan. So ang Google at YouTube po talaga pong napaka-importante po niyan. So kung ano po yung magagawa natin upang makipagtulungan sa MTRCB, lalong-lalo na po upang gamitin yung mga existing po na reporting mechanisms para po matanggal yung mga content na hindi maganda para sa kabataan.
Nako, maganda pong madinig yan, Sir Attorney.
Tila katapusan na nga ng mga content creator ng iba't ibang mga social media platform na kadalasang ginagamit dito sa ating bansa, na siyang pinagkakakitaan naman ng maraming Pilipino ngayon, lalong-lalo na nga ang Facebook, YouTube at TikTok. Pero habang tumatagal nga sa paggamit at pinagkakakitaan ng maraming Pilipino ngayon, ay tila naging toxic na nga ito, at marami na nga ang mga content creator ang nag-upload ng mga video na hindi naman kaya-aya panoorin, na kadalasang humahantong na nga sa content na may sexualidad o may mga malalaswang content, na inalmahan naman ito ng maraming Pilipino. Dahil nga sa tila naging toxic na nga dito sa bansa natin ang mga content creator na patuloy pa rin na gumagawa ng mga video na katulad nito. Kaya naman mga tol, ay inalmahan na nga ito ng Senado. At pinag-usapan na nga ito sa naging hearing ni Idol Senator Robin Padilla ng Committee on Public Information and Mass Media, na ngayon ay umabot na nga ito sa pangatlong hearing. Nakasama nga rin sa pinag-uusapan rito ang mga online games. Nang mapag-usapan naman sa Committees on Games and Amusement, Ways and Means and Finance, na kung saan naman ay nakiisa nga rito ang mga online platform communities katulad na lang nga ng Google, YouTube at Netflix. Bagamat inaanyayahan pa rin ni Idol Senator Robin Padilla ang Facebook at iba pang mga online platform. Pero samantala nga mga tol, isa nga sa mga pinagdidiinan ngayon ng maraming netizen at mga Pilipino, ang content creator na si Toni Fowler, na posibleng mababand nga siya sa paggawa ng mga video, na kung matatandaan nga ninyo ay kamakailan lamang ay nag-viral nga at pinag-usapan sa social media ang isang malaswang music video ni Toni Fowler.
Malasin mo lang ako agad sasama, kahit di mo ko akitin. Meron ka bang lemon? Gusto ko tequila. Pagtapos ko mag-shot, sip-sipin mo aking dila.
Bagamat ilan nga lang sa mga halimbawa si Toni Fowler ng mga content creator na nag-upload ng may malalaswang video, ay sana naman ay marami pang mga content creator na baguhin naman ang kanilang estilo sa pag-upload ng mga video, lalong-lalo na nga sa paggawa ng mga entertainment sa mga social media platform. At ito nga mga tol ang naging pahayag ni Idol Senator Robin Padilla at pakikiisa ng mga social media communities at ng MTRCB. Panoorin natin ang ilang clip na ito.
Ito po yung kanina pa, si Attorney Yves Gonzales ng Google Philippines. Sir, ito po yung kanina pa. Si Attorney Yves Gonzales ng Google Philippines. Sir, andyan po ba kayo? Sir, Attorney, mabuhay po. Sir, Attorney. Opo, ay buti naman, Tagalog ka na, boss. Ito po yung kanina pa. Si Attorney Yves Gonzales ng Google Philippines. Sir, boss, ano po ba ang posisyon po ninyo? Kayo po ba ay sumasang-ayon sa ating panukala na atin pong bigyan ng mandato, padagdagan ang ngipin ng MPRCB?
Makikipag-ugnayan po tayo sa MPRCB at sa Senado upang mapag-usapan po natin ang mga mga hinahain po ng proposal at upang maibahagi din po namin kung ano po yung mga existing na mekanismo po upang mai-report ng MPRCB or ng kahit sino pong gustong mag-report ang mga content na lumalabag po sa batas ng Pilipinas o doon naman po sa ating pong tinatawag na community guidelines. So marami na pong existing at naiintindihan po natin ang concerns ng MPRCB, ngunit gusto rin po nating i-share yung mga existing po na mechanisms para po mapatanggal po yung mga content na may problema po.
Po, Attorney, sangayon naman po kayo doon sa nabanggit ng ating mga foreigner kanina. Napakaganda po nung kanilang mga sinabi, si James Chitley, tsaka po si Ma'am Celesta Naomi Campbell Brad Pitt, na kanila po, sinabi nila kanina na sila ay willing po sila, actually very willing to cooperate with the MTRCB on protecting yung pong yung kamusmusan ng ating mga kabataan. At nakakatuwa po na galing pa sa mga foreigner yung kanilang concern at handa po silang mag-adjust sa culture natin. Ano po ang palagay niyo po dyan, Sir Yves?
Opo, sa tingin ko po ay isa lang po yung ating layunin na talagang maprotektahan po, lalong-lalo na po ang kabataan. So ang Google at YouTube po talaga pong napaka-importante po niyan. So kung ano po yung magagawa natin upang makipagtulungan sa MPRCB, lalong-lalo na po upang gamitin yung mga existing po na reporting mechanisms para po matanggal yung mga content na hindi maganda para sa kabataan.
Nako, maganda pong madinig yan, Sir Attorney. Ma'am, baka meron po kayong gustong ipa-ano sa YouTube.
Thank you so much for sa mga katagang sinabi sa atin ng ating kaibigan mula sa YouTube. Kami pa ay nagpapasalamat dahil kung makikita nyo lang po ang complaints na natatanggap ng MTRCB on a daily basis, bahang-baha na po kami ng complaints, lalo na po sa mga nilalaman ng YouTube. Kaya't kinakailangan po namin ng proper coordination at siguro mas maganda kung makikipag-usap kami sa kanila at magkaroon kami ng mechanism at ng agreement kung paano maiging masusolusyonan ang aming nagiging problema. Marami pong salamat, Mr. Chairman.
Napakaganda po ng pagtango. Tumutungo po yung ating si Attorney Yves Gonzales sa inyong pong sinasabi. At magandang senyales po yan na handa po silang makipag-dialogo sa inyo. Tama po ba, Sir Yves?
Tama po.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Yves. Kami po'y maligaya at nagpadala po ng representative ang YouTube. Pag nabalitaan po ito ni Senator Grace po, ay sigurado po mapapangiti na siya. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay po, Sir. Si James Chitley, Regional Director, Motion Picture Association, Disney. Andiyan po ba kayo? James Chitley, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Sir, are you there? Ayun.
Yes. I'm
Talagang
here. Can you hear me?
problema po. No, sir. Unfortunately, we cannot communicate with you. Something's wrong with our internet. No, sir. We can see you, sir. Sir James, we can see you, but we cannot hear you. Sir?
Yes, can you
Sir
hear me?
James Chitley of Disney?
Can you
Sir, we are in the process now of giving extra powers to our MTRCB, giving extra power to Application Board that its mandate is to check movies and television, and now we are hoping that the Congress will give them extra powers to check on the streaming platforms. What do you think, sir? Are you amenable for this or not? Hirap ako mag-English doon. Hirap ulitin doon, ha?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, and any senators present. I just want to clarify that I work for the Motion Picture Association. It's a trade association representing 6 international producers and distributors of film and television entertainment. The 6 MPA members are Disney, Netflix, Paramount, Sony, Universal, and Warner Brothers Discovery. Today, I'd like to take a little bit of time to talk about the importance of self-classification for video-on-demand services, such as the ones I represent. These services provide curated content services where each piece of content is owned or licensed by the service and is reviewed by in-house staff. This distinguishes VOD services from user-generated content and from pirate sites, which do not classify content at all. VOD services are highly distinct from traditional broadcast services in several ways. First, audience get to choose what they wish to view at a time they wish to view it on a device of their choice. Second, audiences pull content from their catalogs rather than push it on them like theatrical or broadcast distribution channels. These video-on-demand services offer highly optimized features such as parental controls that can give families total control over their viewing experience. And lastly, families retain control over the type of the content their children view. Several governments in the Asia-Pacific region have implemented light touch self-regulation, including Australia, India, Korea, Malaysia, Singapore, New Zealand, and Vietnam. In these markets and elsewhere, video-on-demand services have developed practices and approaches that can allow them to self-regulate in line with light touch regulation. The video-on-demand market is a nascent market, and heavy-handed content regulations will harm its development and reduce consumer choice and increase piracy. Indeed, frontier economics has found that higher rates of regulation correlate with reduced cultural exports. Technological differences make it difficult for video-on-demand services to comply with traditional classification requirements that apply to other media distribution methods, while requirements from other media distribution models are increasingly outmoded relative to how consumers now access content. Further, ex-ante classification requirements for video-on-demand services can delay release dates in the Philippines and increase the risk of piracy, as we have seen in other markets. Those are my prepared remarks. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Sir James Chickley. Well, I'm happy to hear that in some countries they are the ones doing the classification. Did I hear it right from India? Is that right?
Yes, India has had a self-classification code operating now for 2 or 3 years, and it's operating very well. One piece of evidence I've heard is that 95% of all consumer feedback goes to the services, the video-on-demand services, and they're dealt with at the service level.
Yes, sir, because India is one of the countries that they have a very successful movie industry. I think they are third to Hollywood. India, they call them Bollywood. So, sir, you are do you welcome this move in our Congress to give extra power to the MTRCB for us to not control, that's not the word. She doesn't like that. Our chairwoman doesn't like that. Just to classify the movies. Because, culturally, we are different from the West. We are a little bit conservative in some ways. And in some ways also, we are liberated. So, are you amenable for this, sir?
From my understanding of what's being proposed, what is being given to MTRCB is an oversight role for this content on video-on-demand services. And to the extent that that is an oversight role rather than an ex-ante classification role, which I don't think is being proposed, yes, we would welcome that, and we welcome that because it would give a modicum of clarity and and certainty to the legal status of this content in the Philippines. I'd like to stress that our members make available content on a global scale and take into account regional and local differences as it relates to religion, society, class, all sorts of things, and are very cognizant of cultural differences. So I would expect our members making their own decisions would classify content in a manner that would be acceptable to MTRCB, and if there were any any feedback given from the MTRCB, then that would be delivered to the service itself.
That is so beautiful to hear, Sir James Shitley. Can I now hear the comment of our chairwoman? Ma'am, napakaganda na sinasabi nito. Na-homework mo ba ito? Oh,
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MPA. And I would like to reiterate that, yes, MTRCB does welcome self-regulation, self-rating, self-classification, but it has to be the effective self-regulation. With the sheer number of complaints that we receive on a daily basis, I don't feel that our country is ready as of yet to self-regulate, self-rate, self-classify themselves. So I see this as another way to foster partnerships with online streaming providers. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, thank you very much, Ma'am Chairperson. Thank you very much, Sir James Shitley. It's thank you for joining us, sir. And we heard it from you. That is the best part, because one of the senators before, she was telling us that you are very hard to contact, and now you are here, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Yeah, live from Singapore. Thank you, sir. Okay, nako, medyo pinasakit yung ulo ko to na, tanghalian pa naman. Bira, meron pa po tayo. Englishan ba ulit ito? Si Ma'am Miss Celeste Campbell Pitt. Ano ni Brad Pitt ito? Chief Policy Officer, Asia Video Industry Association. Hello, ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, ma'am.
Good morning. Thank
Good
you.
morning, ma'am. I think it's, what time is it now? Good afternoon here, ma'am. Where are you now, ma'am? Are you in Singapore?
I'm in Singapore, sir.
Singapore also.
Yes,
oh, yeah. Okay, ma'am. Yes. We just had a beautiful talk with Sir James Shitley, and he's supporting the MTRCB for because I understood from what he said that some other countries like India has their own classification, and this is what we are asking from your part, that maybe you could also give us this opportunity, because ma'am, you know, the Philippines is a very conservative country in many ways. In some ways, it is liberated. But when it comes to movies and especially on streaming, we are so conservative, ma'am. Are you willing to cooperate with the MTRCB?
Yes, we are. And actually, we were very fortunate to have the MTRCB attend our policy roundtable event in Singapore last year. And we shared with MTRCB the value that we see in self-regulation. So in terms of what Mr. Shitley has already said about self-regulation and why we believe there's great value in it, we would absolutely support that. I think our organization, just to give you a little bit of insight and context, is slightly different to MPA. We represent both local and international players across the video content ecosystem. And we work not only with broadcasters, but also with tech enablers, with advertisers. So we get to see the full range of the video content ecosystem. I will say, so if I may, I think a lot of the comments that have been made today have been made with relation to child protection and safe experiences for children. And I think that's something that we are particularly proud of. And James alluded to this earlier, is that we offer a fully curated content catalog together with clear ratings and robust parental controls to enable users to determine the content that is made available to them and their families. And I think that's how we, as a curated content industry membership, differ from user-generated platforms. So what we do in terms of providing clear feedback mechanisms as well, we also think is incredibly important. I think one of the comments, again, that was made earlier was that MTRCB is keen to put in place build its own complaints mechanism. But already a lot of our members have those complaint mechanisms in place. And in fact, in India, we were very fortunate to have the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting Secretary speak at our policy roundtable, where he commended our members specifically for the fact that they've had so few complaints on self-regulation, because our members have been particularly good at responding to users' complaints if and when they arise. So I think that's just something that we think is very important, is we have got these mechanisms in place. We are trying to generate experiences that are safe for both users and their families. And really, it's important to us that self-regulation or light touch regulation continues, because we are of the view that that is the best way to encourage investment and to encourage innovation. So I think that pretty much summarizes our view from our members' perspectives. If you have any questions, happy to take them.
Hello, ma'am. Yeah,
Yes.
Ma'am Celeste. I'm sorry, the internet, something's wrong with the internet, but I got almost all your message.
Good.
And I'm very happy to hear that you are very willing to cooperate with the MTRCV, ma'am, because this is really very important to us. Well, the whole world right now is suffering from this fake news and movies that are really, really not suitable for children. And hearing this from you, and that you will cooperate and you will help MTRCB, ma'am, we are very thankful. And ma'am, I have one more question. This is a very light question. Are you related to Brad Pitt?
Apparently, according to my Chinese name, I am, but not as far
Wow.
as we know. Although I'd be very impressed if I was, and I will certainly let you know if I ever find that out, sir.
Wow, that is really nice to hear. I just talked to a relative of the Brad Pitt. Thank you very much, ma'am. Wish I could see you personally, inshallah. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you for the time, sir.
At isang bagay yon na wag natin bibitawan. Kasi ito, kaya tayo nandito. Kaya tayo nandito lahat para sa kabataang Pilipino. Na wag natin hayaan na yung salitang freedom of expression and freedom of creation, yan ang maging dahilan para mawala tayo sa kultura natin. Maganda yung sinabi nung kanina, nung ating sa National Culture and Arts na talagang hindi po pwede yung nung araw, ngayon iba na. Hindi ako naniniwala doon. Kung meron pong gustong magdagdag, meron pa ba tayo hindi nakapagsalita? Yung kanina, nabara-bara na eh. Andyan pa ba? Meron pa ba? Ayun, Professor Gerard Por Elviña, sir, bago po tayo magtapos, meron po kayong gustong idagdag? Eksakto naman, kayo yung binabanggit ko.
Good morning po, Mr. Chair. Narinig niyo pa ako? Okay. So, babasahin ko lang po yung position paper po ng NCC. So, Presidential Decree 1986, which establishes the Movie and Television Review and Classification Board, or MTRCB, was passed in 1985, which is mandated to regulate and classify movies, television programs, and related publicity materials and or promotional materials thereof. Article 3, Section 4 of our 1987 Philippine Constitution dictates that no law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech, of expression, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and petition the government for redress of grievances. With the time lapse of 2 years between the two, it is very clear that there's need to update the MTRCB's charter to match or be faithful with the current condition of that time period, or better yet, with the current 2023 cultural and arts condition, as to avoid any conflict with these two. MTRCB should also be given the opportunity to grow its capacity and function audience development of programs that are meaningful and wide-reaching. The classification system is intended to help parents and other viewers make informed decisions about what movies they choose to watch or allow their children to watch. While some argue that the film classification is necessary to protect viewers from harmful content, and others believe that it can be limiting and arbitrary. One of the primary arguments in favor of film TV classification is that it helps to protect viewers, particularly young children, from potentially harmful content. Movies can contain graphic, violence, sexual content, and other mature themes that may not be appropriate for all audiences. Film classification can provide parents with important information about the movie's content and help them make decisions about what is appropriate for their children to watch. Furthermore, some argue that film and TV classification can be overly restricted and limit artistic expression. Some filmmakers may feel pressure to water down their content to avoid a more restrictive rating, which can compromise the integrity of their work. In addition, certain groups may feel that their perspectives and experiences are not accurately represented in movies that are subject to restricted classification standards. Censorship, on the other hand, refers to the suppression or prohibition of any parts of the books, films, news, or ideas that are considered obscene, politically unacceptable, or a threat to national security. While some argue that censorship is necessary to protect society from harmful content, others believe that it infringes upon the fundamental rights to freedom of expression. There are several arguments in favor of censorship. One of the primary arguments is that it protects society from harmful content that can influence and corrupt people, particularly young children. For example, graphic, violence, pornography, and hate speech can have negative effects on individuals and society as a whole. Censorship can help to prevent these harmful materials from being widely distributed and consumed. Another argument in favor of censorship is that it can protect national security. Governments often censor content that is deemed a threat to national security, such as classified information or propaganda from foreign countries. By limiting access to this content, censorship can help to prevent potential harm to a nation's citizens and interests. However, despite these arguments, censorship is often criticized for infringing upon the fundamental right to freedom of expression. In democratic societies, individuals have the right to express their opinions and ideas. Even if they are unpopular or controversial, censorship can limit the freedom and prevent individuals from sharing their thoughts and beliefs. Furthermore, censorship can also be used as a tool for those in power to suppress dissent and maintain control. Governments may use censorship to prevent citizens from accessing information that could undermine their authority, such as news about political corruption or human rights abuses. This can lead to a lack of transparency and accountability and ultimately harm the democratic process. Even though freedom of expression is not absolute, we should ultimately find the balance between protecting individual rights and promoting the common good. In conclusion, while film TV classification can provide important information to viewers and help to protect them from harmful content, it is important to ensure that any classification system is transparent, consistent, and fair. Filmmakers should be able to express their ideas and perspectives without fear of censorship or arbitrary classification standards. Ultimately, film classification should strike a balance between protecting viewers and promoting artistic expression. Meanwhile, there are some arguments in favor of censorship, because ultimately possesses a threat to fundamental human rights and democratic values. While some forms of censorship may be necessary in certain circumstances, it is important to ensure that any limitations on free expression are proportionate, transparent, and subject to oversight to prevent abuse. Society must strike a balance between protecting individuals from harmful content and safeguarding the right to freedom of expression. We at the National Committee on Cinema, NCC, support the changes that needs to be done to align the two mandates to conform with the current cultural art landscape this 2023. We should focus on educating everyone on the difference of freedom of speech and censorship, and at the same time pass laws that would further promote, protect, uplift the cultural arts sector to be at par with international standards and practices. We pray that the Committee on Public Information and Mass Media would help the NCC in the following. First, education, upliftment and professionalization of our cultural and arts sector workers. Second, copyright protection and reinforcement of our works. And lastly, educate the general public on making informed decisions or caveat emptor, the National Committee on Cinema, through the National Commission of Culture and Arts. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po, Professor Gerard Paul Elviña. Salamat po sa inyong Hingi din po kami ng position paper po ninyo, sir, kasi medyo malabo din po, may mga yung first part po nyo medyo putol-putol. Dito lang po pa-ending gumanda. Kawawa naman po yung stenographer namin. Medyo nahirapan. Hingi po kami ng position paper po ninyo, sir.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you po.
Salamat po, Professor. Bilang panghuli, ito po yung kanina pa, si Attorney Yves Gonzales ng Google Philippines. Sir, andyan po ba kayo? Sir, Attorney, mabuhay po. Sir, Attorney. Opo, ay, buti na kang Tagalog ka na, boss. Oo, medyo sumakit na ulo ko doon kanina eh. Boss, ano po ba ang posisyon po ninyo? Kayo po ba ay sumasang-ayon sa ating panukala na atin pong bigyan ng mandato, padagdagan ang ngipin ng MPRCB?
makikipag-ugnayan po tayo sa MTRCB at sa Senado upang mapag-usapan po natin ang mga mga inakain po ng proposal at upang maibahagi din po namin kung ano po yung mga existing na mekanismo po upang mai-report ng MTRCB or ng kahit sino pong gustong mag-report ang mga content na lumalabag po sa batas ng Pilipinas o doon naman po sa ating pong tinatawag na community guidelines. So marami na pong existing at naiintindihan po natin ang concerns ng MTRCB. Ngunit gusto rin po natin i-share yung mga existing po na mechanisms para po mapatanggal po yung mga content na may problema po.
Po, Attorney, sangayon naman po kayo doon sa nabanggit ng ating mga foreigner kanina. Napakaganda po nung kanilang mga sinabi, si James Chitley, tsaka po si Ma'am Celesta Naomi Campbell Brad Pitt, na kanila po, sinabi nila kanina na sila ay willing po sila, actually very willing to cooperate with the MTRCB on protecting yung pong yung kamusmusan ng ating mga kabataan. At nakakatuwa po na galing pa sa mga foreigner yung kanilang concern at handa po silang mag-adjust sa culture natin. Ano po ang palagay niyo po dyan, Sir Ives?
Opo, sa tingin ko po ay isa lang po yung ating layunin na talagang maprotektahan po, lalong-lalo na po ang kabataan. So ang Google at YouTube po talaga pong napaka-importante po niyan. So kung ano po yung magagawa natin upang makipagtulungan sa MTRCB, lalong-lalo na po upang gamitin yung mga existing po na reporting mechanisms para po matanggal yung mga content na hindi maganda para sa kabataan.
Ako, maganda pong matinig yan, Sir Attorney. Ma'am, baka meron po kayong gustong sa YouTube.
Thank you so much for sa mga katagang sinabi sa atin ng ating kaibigan mula sa YouTube. Kami pa ay nagpapasalamat dahil kung makikita nyo lang po ang complaints na natatanggap ng MTRCB on a daily basis, bahang-baha na po kami ng complaints, lalo na po sa mga nilalaman ng YouTube. Kaya't kinakailangan po namin ng proper coordination at siguro mas maganda kung makikipag-usap kami sa kanila at magkaroon kami ng mechanism at ng agreement kung paano maiging masusolusyonan ang aming nagiging problema. Marami pong salamat, Mr. Chairman.
Napakaganda po ng tumutungo po yung ating si Attorney Ives Gonzales sa inyong pong sinasabi. At magandang senyalis po yan na handa po silang makipag-dialogo sa inyo. Tama po ba, Sir Ives?
Tama po.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Ives. Kami po'y maligaya at nagpadala po ng representative ang YouTube. Pag nabalitaan po ito ni Senator Grace po, ay sigurado po mapapangiti na siya. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay po, Sir. Ngayon po, baka meron pong mga gustong magdagdag. Mga hindi pa po Ma'am, Sir, BIR, okay na po kayo. Yung position paper po niyo, no? Sir Attorney Mamarico L. Sansaronia Jr. Baka meron po kayong gustong...
Sir, regarding the sensitivity provision with the draft bill, sir, I noticed that the indigenous people was spelled out. So if I may suggest, sir, we could also spell out regarding the Muslims. And also, sir, regarding the tenure of office of the executive director, there is no holdover provision for that matter, sir, but there is a holdover provision for the board, the vice chair, and the chairperson. So if I humbly submit also, sir, to include a provision on holdover capacity for the executive director position, sir. Thank you, sir.
Asahan po nyo yan, Attorney. Nandito po tayo para yung mga kailangan po ng MTRCB ay nandito po kami para tugunan yan. Wag po kayong mag-alala. Boss, kaya kausap kayo dyan, ha? Ayun po, baka si Attorney, meron pa po kayo, Sir Attorney. Kayo po. Baka meron po kayo. Mayroon po kayong gustong idagdag, sir?
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Meron pa kaming mga nasa isip po, Senator. Pwede namin siguro ilabas yun sa technical working group and later on po.
Okay po. Maraming salamat po. Ma'am, kayo na po ang hinihintay namin
Wala
pa.
po. Mr. Chairman, maraming salamat po sa oras na ibinigay po ninyo sa MTRCB at sa staff po ninyong lahat dito po sa Senado. Maraming salamat po sa pagpapakita ninyo ng suporta at pagpapahalaga sa aming ahensya. Kami po ay naririto bilang pangalawang mga magulang ng mga bata, bilang gabay ng mga magulang sa pangangalaga ng kanilang mga bata. It is both our civic and moral obligation to protect the children from any content that they should not be seeing because it may cause them harm. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
So hanggang dito lang tayo mga tol. Maraming salamat sa panunood at patuloy na suporta. God bless you sa inyo lahat. Hanggang sa muli. Paalam.